This is If My People Bible Reading Part 175. We are in the book of Mark, and we're starting at 8. And I'm going to back up a little bit to part of chapter 7 because verse 3, it kind of lays out everything going on. The Pharisees and the teachers of the law who had come down from Jerusalem gathered around Yeshua. Now they're seeking after him. There's something going on, and they've got a game going, and they want to protect it. So they saw some of his disciples eating food with their hands that were unclean, that is unwashed. And the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they give their hands a ceremonial washing, holding the tradition of the elders. Notice again, tradition, tradition, tradition. I've been to a number of homes during Passovers and Shabbats, and they wash their hands like a surgeon does just before a major surgery. In other words, their hands are clean on the outside, and all the stuff that goes on the inside just doesn't seem to matter to them. And I just, I'm amazed that people will be so careful of what they put in their mouth, but what comes out of it goes in their head and out of their mouth in words, it just seems to be condemning constantly, without giving the salvation that you need. So this kind of lays up what's going on in chapter 8, and verse 4 says, when they come from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash, and they observe many other traditions, such as the washing of cups, pitchers, and kettles. And I've watched how they've done this. And Yeshua doesn't mean that you can go around be filthy and never wash your hands for supper. That's not what he meant. He's paying attention to what meant everything to them. They put that above what goes in your head, your heart, your soul. That's what he's talking about. That's what Mark is talking about. So Yeshua ends up saying they worship me in vain. That's verse 7 in chapter 7. Their teachings are but rules taught by men. There is absolutely no difference today between the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and the Herodian behaviors, the politics and the nonsense of those days, and the politics and the politicians today, and the governmental leaders and those who are jamming things down your throat. Nothing has changed. Hasatan is the author of all this. He owns it, and he cannot come up with an original thought to save his life. And his minions, his 300,000 minions, and all those humans who gladly take this on, are all in on this. So yeah, it's a conspiracy. You get that a lot. So I suppose you believe in conspiracy theories, where two or more gathered, or three, and plot and plan something to make things alter from what is reality is called a conspiracy. Yeah, I am 100% believing that conspiracies happen every day, and especially by evil people. And that's the first thing they come at you with. Oh, I suppose you believe in theory and conspiracies. Yeah, you prove a theory and you expose conspiracies. Wow. Most people just shy away. They get scared to death when they're accused of being involved in conspiracy theories, trying to expose them. All right. One of the Torah statements is chapter 8, verse 15. Be careful, Yeshua warned them. Torah, watch out for the yeast of the Pharisees and that of Herod. We just talked about the yeast of the Pharisees and that of Herod. In other words, Marduk, Zadok's, Melchizedek. These people were pretending to be rulers and priests in charge of you. There's only one ruler and priest in charge of you, and that is Yeshua. Period. There are no others. And then as we go into chapter 8 of Mark, it mentions something that a lot of people have asked me and said, please prove this, Bruce. You keep saying things that we don't see in the Bible. We just don't see it. You keep saying there's two of these. There's two times of the overturning of the tables. There's the multiple suppers that Yeshua had before he had his last supper. There's two times on the Sermon on the Mount, the two times of Beatitudes, the two times of the feeding of the fishes. We can't find these. It's just one. And we've seen the movie, and the movie has only one. Well, here it is. Chapter 8, one of the proofs. Let's start with Yeshua was admonishing his disciples. He didn't treat them with kid gloves. He laid it on because he knew what they needed to know, and he knew what they was going to need to know and need to do after he was gone. He was building up their need. He was disciplining his troops. You can't spank a child these days. You go to jail. Social services is coming to knock on your door. Okay? They're trying to defund the police, so I guess when someone's stabbing you and you call 911, you'll have a social services worker with a handkerchief. What a world we live in. So let's read verse 18. Do you have eyes but fail to see, and ears but fail to hear? And don't you remember? Remember, he's always talking about hear and obey, hear and obey, hear and obey. Verse 19, when I broke the 5 loaves for the 5,000, how many basketfuls of pieces did you pick up? 12, they replied. Next sentence, verse 20. And when I broke the 7 loaves, not the 5, for the 4,000, not the 5,000, how many basketfuls or pieces did you pick up? They answered, 7, not 12. So for those who have been attacking me for a long time, and then when I finally get them stop attacking me, then a bunch more come after me. They simply people if you're depending on pastors and preachers and ministers who can't even understand what I've just given you, they have never read the Bible. It's just a tool that sits around. They get the sermons off the internet. Wow. Okay? I mean, it's right there. Chapter 8, verse 34. Torah. If anyone could come after me, in other words, you want to follow him, he must decide, which means she today. I mean, don't get confused. When you say mankind, it means woman too. Mankind is not a male-oriented word. It means men and women. Okay? Boy, you get the people that, I am woman, hear me roar. This feminist movement has really screwed up people's minds. Okay. For whoever wants to save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for me, for the good news, will save it. Chapter 9, verse 7. Then a cloud appeared and enveloped him, and a voice came from the cloud. Torah. This is Torah. This is my son, whom I love. Listen to him. I mean, even Yahweh's getting involved in this. Would you just listen to him? Take it in, suck it in, maybe write it down, which obviously they did. Verse 35. Sitting down, Yeshua called the 12 and said, if anyone wants to be the first, he must be the very last and the servant of all. Now, he was talking to all 12. Does that mean all 12 were there? Yeah. Was Judas there? Yeah. Was Yeshua wasting his time talking to that clown? No. Everyone will be invited into the kingdom. Everyone must hear and obey. Everyone must call upon Yeshua. Call upon the Father through Yeshua. Everyone. And everyone will be given an opportunity. That's what that means to me, and I think it means to you. Everyone. You've all had, well, I didn't hear him the one time he talked to me in my entire life. No, the Father talks to you every single day. And if you don't read the Word, you've never picked up the Bible in your life, has nothing to do with it. These disciples that he picked, most of them probably never picked up a scroll in their life. He called them. The soul within them recognized, and they heard, and they obeyed, and they followed. Now, they still have a lot of questions, just like John the Immerser did. John went to his death. And one of the last questions he's had is, go back to talk to that Jesus person, Yeshua, and find out, are you the one that I'm waiting for that is coming? Are you the one? He was the one that proclaimed him when he baptized him, but he was thinking he was down that road of redemption. He was not all the way down. He was in that, if he grew up with the Essenes believed. That's why a lot of people say, well, his dad and mom died because they were old people by the time he was born, and he grew up among the Essenes. And what the Essenes believed? Well, we read the Dead Sea Scrolls, and now we know in the last 50 years, since 1946, 47, 48, when they were found, started becoming found in all those Qumran caves and other places, that, yes, those Essenes believed in two Messiahs. Two Messiahs. They believed one was a lion and one was a lamb. One was not Melchizedek. One was a preacher, a savior, and the other one was a governmental leader. He's all of them. He's Melchizedek. That's who he is. That's why we mention Melchizedek over and over again, because Melchizedek comes through in all this reading. It's only mentioned a few times in the Bible, the word Melchizedek, but it's shown in all kinds of chapters about who he was. That's why he's coming twice. He came the first time to turn you into priests, and he's coming the second time to run his government. Chapter 9, 43 and 45. If your hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better for you to enter life maimed than with two hands to go to hell, where the fire never goes out. So Yeshua talks about going to hell? Yeah, he just did. He just told you. And if your foot causes you to sin, cut it off. It's better for you to enter your life crippled than to have 2 feet and be thrown into hell. If you got a big family members and you got one of them dragging you down and just everything is hell and damnation with them, and they don't believe any of this stuff, none of it whatsoever, call it what you may, and they don't. Well, you don't lower yourself to their level. You maintain your level, and if and when they ever understand, if it's through somebody else, because they'll never believe the mother or father or any of the grandpa and grandpa. Oh no, they'll believe some yin-yang down the road who sits in a lotus position chanting all day long. Or they'll just believe in themselves. Or what's today? They believe in science. They believe in science. If one just spends a few minutes studying about the polio vaccine and how it was created and how it was experimented with and how it was sent to Russia and how many people died in Russia with this experiment, and how many people got ill and how many of it didn't work at all, and how many times did they do this working with human beings as guinea pigs before they finally got it right back and brought it to the United States and gave it to the people in the United States. And all the children lined up in school, and they all got that shot in their arm. Oh, yeah. And but how many? How many? That's just an example like that. Yeah, science is going to solve things. Yeah, right. That's the religion today. Science. Wow. And I have a science degree. Okay. I got a couple of them. And so I know a lot about science that nobody that I know that knows me, or even members of my own family, ever ask. They never ask. They don't care, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The seed identifies another seed, and the soul identifies another soul that knows who is their father. And if someone's not the father, they're not going to see it. Not unless they come to repentance and hear and obey and follow the Father through the Son. That's the whole thing. That's the whole thing. And we'll end with verse 50 of chapter 9. Salt is good, but it loses its saltiness. How can you make it salty again? Have salt in yourselves and be at peace with each other. Be shalom with each other. Once you have salt and you mix it with, you cut it with drugs, you can't get the white powder out, because almost all white powders in chemical pharmaceuticals are white. believe it or not, and you can't get it out, so it's worthless. That's what Yeshua is talking about. See you at the next one. Bless you all.